Moderator, on behalf of the Nomination Committee in this last day of the General Assembly, we wish you in the year ahead travelling mercies and vigour in all that you do. Moderator, in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 6, the Lord Jesus reminds us of the real treasure in life. It says, "Do not store for yourself treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Friends, what do you treasure? What do you treasure? Is it your family? If you've got a family. I treasure my family. Or perhaps it's the family pet. No dignity for the family pet. Now, one set of figures from 2021 reports that in the UK we spend 9.6 million on our pets per year. It's an old figure. That animal gets better food than I get. Is it your friends that you treasure? People who journey with you through life. Real friends tell you things that you don't want to hear. Or maybe it's your colleagues that you treasure. I'm part of the interim minister, transition minister team. I treasure the wisdom and the supportive friendship of my colleagues. Stuart's now retired with his meringues. As a minister, I treasure my people. We must treasure our people. They're all smiling because I was leaving that day. Or is it the things that you collect? People collect things. They're treasures. People can be great collectors of old books or stamps or china figures. And here's part of my treasured collection. And Mrs. Gardner says it'll be melted when I've gone. So what do you treasure in life? Again, in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus tells two short parables, the parable of the magnificent pearl, the parable of the hidden treasure. These stories remind us of the priceless riches of the Gospel. Moderator, the Nomination Committee read applications from those offering to use their gifts to serve the standing committees of the General Assembly. We are given treasured information about those people. It's not only their gifts that the Nomination Committee learn about, but their aspirations, their vision to serve Christ in his church. And it is a humbling task that we take seriously this work that the General Assembly has entrusted to us. Moderator, these have been challenging times this past year for the Nomination Committee. We've had experienced an exceptional year where a significant number of people have resigned from committees for a variety of reasons. Sometimes direction of travel, sometimes health reasons, perhaps capacity. People, as we were thinking about earlier this week, people wearied and pushed to the limit. We've had to work very hard to find suitable replacements for those who have stood down throughout the year. When we were writing this report, 9 places on standing committees were yet to be filled, but I'm so glad to report that there is a convener's notice of motion that addresses many of those existing vacancies on the standing committees. Moderator, sadly, for the Nomination Committee, one of our members, Reverend Linda Pollock, passed away. And her contribution to the Nomination Committee and the wider church was much appreciated, and she is sorely missed. Moderator, In 2023, the Assembly agreed for a strategic review of the nomination work. As part of the strategic review, this past year, a handbook has been created for use by the nominating committee, pulling together information that the committee requires. Prior to that, you had to have a good knowledge of the nomination process to search for much needed information. We are grateful to our administrator, Gordon McNaught, for the work he has done with this helpful piece of work. The Assembly has approved a revised set of standing orders. Contained therein are standing orders for the standing committees of the General Assembly. The Nomination Committee welcomes this development and notes that these revised standing orders are clearer and more concise. The Nomination Committee assured the General Assembly that we are continually reviewing our processes. There are other identified areas of work in the report that we'll consider after this Assembly. Standing orders. There are 2 sections of the Deliverance that deal with reappointments that require a suspension of standing orders. These proposals are to preserve continuity of leadership for the Registry Ministries Committee and the Life and Work Advisory Committee. Challenges going forward. Moderator, the Nomination Committee is afforded some level of oversight over the appointments to the Assembly Trustees subcommittees to ensure a fair and transparent recruitment process. The Nomination Committee welcomes the opportunity for future discussions with the Principal Clerk's Office to help provide improved clarity about the Nomination Committee's role in this work. Statistics. Some statistics about this cycle of the nomination work. We are pleased to report that 42% of proposed nominations are those who have not served on a standing committee over the past 10 years. And then, moderator, there are some thank yous. The Nomination Committee is well supported by its Vice Convener, Reverend Brian Kerr, and its Secretary, Reverend Dr. Victoria Linford. We work as a team together with the wider Nomination Committee, with the wide array of gifts and wisdom that the members bring to the privileged task of serving the General Assembly. It's also important to note that the contribution made by the communications team to help keep a visible profile of the Nomination Committee on social media pages and the front page of the Church of Scotland website during the nomination season. I can assure you, General Assembly, I'll be sending out more annoying videos in the coming year to keep the profile high. Moderator, since I am a commissioner, I present the report of the Nomination Committee and I move the Deliverance.
Thank you, Convener. There are no requests to speak, so sorry, seconded. So we move, no request to speak, so we move to the Deliverance, Section 1, receive the report. So approved both in the hall and online. Section 2. Yes. Your name's not, oh, I've not got to Section 2 yet on my screen here. Just give me your name and number and start. Thank you.
Andrew Morrison, number 342. We were speaking earlier about Susie being here looking after working with youth reps. I came here as a youth rep 12 years ago, been here as an elder, and now as a minister a couple of times. And every time I've been here, the convener of the nominating committee have always said they've struggled to fill all the vacancies. And so my question is, does the convener, I recognise that you're not able to make a decision, but would you suggest that if the number of committees was reduced, you might be able to fill the vacancies? I'm thinking that we've had For next year, we're going to think of perhaps reducing the number of committees we hear from. We're just going to pass reports as read. Do we think that if the number of committees was reduced, we'd be able to fill all the vacancies, perhaps?
Thanks for your question, Andrew. That's beyond my pay grade to remove committees from the General Assembly. That's for you to do. However, in the olden days, when the Blue Book was huge and the committee numbers were massive, it was always a challenge, I think, in the past to fill committees. But I think when I reflect with our team over the past year, we had 27 people resign from committees, and we've got about 3 or 4 spaces left, and I'm satisfied as convener that our folks have done a great job. So I think we've really pared back with our committees and the numbers of folk on our committees. I don't think this is the time to do that yet. But thank you so much for the question.
Thank you, convener. There are no other requests to speak, so section 2. Approved in the hall and online. Section 3. Now, hang on, it's not come up on my screen yet, but there is a question from Mandy Ralph, who is online.
Moderator, Mandy Ralph, number 97. Moderator, I have a question for the convener, and it is in regard to 2.3.2 on accessibility. I'm just a wee bit concerned about the word consider, and I don't want to ask the convener, because consider to me is a wee bit woolly. I mean, I could consider to take the bus, but I might not do it. So it is about, this is so important in terms of accessibility and about equity that, you know, can you clarify what you mean in terms of consider? Are you going to do it, and is there a time frame for doing this? Because some of this work actually would help in enabling people to apply for committees, and we don't know how inclusive we're being if we do not capture this. So could you tell me, please, in regards to that word consider, whether it means it's going to happen or not, and what the time frame is? And I do have to declare, sorry, that I am the convener of the EDI group. I should have said that at the beginning. My apologies.
And thanks for your question. Consider, we take action on the things that we're asked to do. I think we really need to meet with EDI again. I don't think there's been a meeting in recent times since the last meeting, and you can help us move that forward. We're very happy. We don't put things on our reports and not take action on them. So yes, consider, there's no time scale, but as soon as we meet, you can help us frame what needs to be done.
Right, thank you, convener. Section 3. Approved in the hall and online. Section 4, there is one request to speak, and it's a question from Ross Blackman.
Moderator Ross Blackman, 205, and if I may, it's a question for the convener. I'll ask the question first and then elaborate just a moment, just to perhaps give you a chance to answer think about the answer. I'm wondering to what extent this has or has not been done up till now. I recall, I can't remember what year it was now, actually, I've lost track, us first putting the Assembly Trustees in place. I remember being on the selection committee for our initial trustees for that body. And I know from the Constitution, I double-checked, because I was actually surprised the other day that we had the nominations under that part of the report, and I shouldn't have been surprised, because it is in the Constitution that that's the way things are done, and of course the General Assembly determines ultimately who is on that particular body. But it just, I suppose, confused me that if the nominations committee who have that expertise haven't been involved in that process on behalf of us in the first instance as an assembly, why that might not be the case. So I was kind of reminded when I saw this section. So I wonder, convener, if you might perhaps elaborate to us the extent to which the nominations committee has or hasn't been involved in the work of determining who might be assembly trustees.
That's a very good question, Ross. What happens presently is that we ask for anybody who's appointed as an Assembly trustee, we're given a report by the administrative trustee about the process from beginning to end, and we share that with the nomination committee. But that's as far as it goes. Maybe things could change in the future, I don't know. But that's our role presently. I hope that doesn't satisfy you.
Yeah, thank you. So we move to vote on section 4. So that's a yes in the hall, a yes online. We have a new section 5, which is an amendment in the name of the convener.
Thank you, Moderator. Add at the end of section 5, subject to the following alterations. Assembly Business Committee, Minister resigning, Sarah Ross. Chaplains to HM Forces Committee, Deacon appointed, Lorraine Gilroy, DCS. Forth Valley and Clydesdale, 4 years. Faith Action Programme Leadership Team, Minister retiring, Mike Goss. Nomination Committee members appointed, Catherine Chambers, Alness, 2 years. Helen Dunn, Houston and Killellan. Fiona McDougall, Glasgow, 1 year. Registration of Ministries Committee, Minister reappointed, Robbie Hamilton, we're not going to give him his Sunday name. Presbytery Clerk of Presbytery of Clyde, 2 years. Errata Legal Questions Committee Minister, not member, appointed Douglas Moynihan, Monifieth.
Thank you.
Do you wish to speak to this, convener, or is it self-explanatory?
It's self-explanatory, Moderator. We've done a lot of work between writing the report and now to try and fill some of the gaps that I said in the report.
Okay, we have this amendment. Do we approve the amendment? And the section, and online, and the section as amended? Approved in the hall and online. So that's 5, so 6 we're on to now. Section 6, no requests to speak. Do we approve? Approved in the hall and online. Section 7. Bless you. Snap. Approved in the hall and online. Section 8. Approved in the hall and online. Section 9. Approved in the hall and online. Section 10. Now we have a comment in the name of James Stewart.
Thank you. Thank you, Moderator. Stewart, 301. First of all, Moderator, just to thank the Assembly for their extremely wonderful and generous support for the Life and Work team. I just want to report that back, how they received that. They received it so well, and they were so overwhelmed by that, Lynn and her team. So thank you for that. Obviously, things have changed and moved on, so there's a question and a comment. The question is, Convener, what is the status of the Life and Work Advisory Committee going forward in the light of the comment from the convener of presence and resource and presence with regards to our working together in this interim period? So that's the first part of that question. What is the status?
I mean, the status it will be determined by the General Assembly have the power to determine the status. It's not really the job of the nominating committee to do that.
I think we'll turn to the clerk for this one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Moderator. Thank you for your question, Jim. The matter is in hand. It's not for the Nominations Committee. Currently, we still have Life and Work, and so we still have the Advisory Committee, and I hope the Assembly is happy with my answer.
Thank you, Moderator. And anticipating that, to say that we, as a committee, are fully engaged at whatever this journey looks like in the year to come. So thank you, Moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So, Section 10. Approved in both places. Section 11. Approved in both places. Section 12. Okay, there is a new section 13 in the name of the convener.
Thank you, Moderator. The new section 13 is reappoint Robbie Hamilton, sorry, I'm not using a Sunday name, as convener of the Registration and Ministries Committee for 2 years.
Convener. Do you wish to speak to this?
No, not at all.
Self-explanatory.
Absolutely.
So a new section 13.1, so that's reappointing Robbie Hamilton. Do we approve? Approved in both places. And 13.2.
Note that David Cameron has been reappointed as convener of the Assembly Trustees for 1 year in terms of the Standing Orders of the General Assembly, Schedule E42, and the Constitution and Remit of the Assembly Trustees, Section 9, and Schedule B1 and B2.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Do we approve? Approved in both places. The Deliverance as a whole.
Thank you, Moderator.
Thank you, convener, and thank you to your committee.